Good afternoon on what is a mild, grey and cloudy day. It is Saturday the 13th of April and I'm in there reading up with a nice hot cup of tea. And a box to continue opening. So we can pull out of here a couple of things, but when I start with is this Road to Heaven campaign book for Zombicide Chronicles from CMON, or CoolMiniOrNot, the board game manufacturer. This is their first role-playing game, Zombicide Chronicles, which of course is based upon the Zombicide family of board games, in which essentially a ragtag band of urbanites attempt to survive a zombie uprising. So, welcome to the world of Zombicide Chronicles. Even if you're a seasoned survivor who knows the city and all its districts well, be sure there are many secrets yet to be found, and more than a few of them can prove to be quite deadly. Road to Heaven introduces the campaign mode, intertwining 10 different missions into a complete adventure. Old and new survivors search the streets and the underground after the legend of a secret military hideout that might still be safe. If it's even real, a place called Heaven 3. Finding a secret location won't be the only challenge, though. Be prepared to face lots of different enemies, both alive and undead. The zombie city fell to many elements, from natural catastrophes to weird mutations that made zombies even more dangerous. Trust your allies you meet on the way, if you dare, and gather expertise on the zombie threat using the Anatomical Guide to Zombies. Enjoy 4 new survivor archetypes ready to jump into action and fight your way through countless hordes. It's time to ask yourself, do you have what it takes to find Haven? So yeah, as I say, based upon the popular board game, which is really big in terms of its presentation and its miniatures and its tone, which is tends to be fairly comedic in style. You're blasting or beating your way through hordes of zombies, fighting them off. When of course it would be far more perilous than that if it were to actually happen. And that's kind of figured into the artwork. And you can't really kind of see it here on the cover because this is very good artwork and there's good artwork inside, I'm sure, but it's much more cartoonish in style, as you can see here. So there's the credits page and the table of contents, and then back to hell. This is the first adventure. Essentially, the introduction. We've got new archetypes, and here you can really see the you can see that cartoonish artwork in the former school teacher and a mortician. Couldn't be more than a more suitable archetype than a mortician. Then we've got a surfer and a firefighter. Okay, so you've got full details and stats on how to play them, and there isn't so much of a case of really building much in the way of characters. You're playing with archetypes, and then we get into sort of like a guide to the campaign and the campaign structure, and the mission summary, and then we deal with the Anatomical Guide to Zombies and campaign events, and the living city map and variable threat levels. So quite a lot to cover in the introduction. So you've got a map of the city there, and it's introducing the various aspects of the campaign. So essentially the idea, appendix, anatomical guide to zombies is this: you don't know what how the zombies work when you start playing, but you'll find out as you go along. And there's lots of campaigns to throw the player characters to the survivors, and as the survivors deal with encounters and situations in different districts across the city, they will affect events and the threat level. So very much almost like a computer game, as it were. We've got campaign archetypes, starting with the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. That will be a fun character to play. And then we've got essentially an urban climber girl and a social worker. The urban climber girl sort of like the parkour. The social worker going to be very concerned, and we've got an exotic dancer as well. And then we get into campaign events. So you've got numerous campaign events it's going to present. You know, running into guardian angels, handling some, or chasing some cargo. And you've got a table of trouble for that cargo. And basically also its contents and so on. So, you know, you have multiple options to run that one. You know, probably 2 or 3 times you can get away with it, because you can vary it each time. We've got probably a one-time event, the Eclipse, you know, that has an effect upon the undead, and that's quite pertinent, since we've actually just had a major, a total solar eclipse passing over North Mexico and in the United States. Another instance of hurricane. So you can throw these big events into the event. You know, and we've got things like dealing with a preacher, a red stain, weirdos. You know, essentially lots of little encounters that you can throw at your player characters to enliven the action. And here we get started with the missions. First one, tinfoil hat. And you know, this is going to a shop mart. You know, basically a quick mart on the corner store. I suppose the ones I've encountered when I've been in the US have been like CVS's. And then so we've got an objective in terms of getting resupply, because you're always going to be on the lookout for food, clean water, and bullets. So you've got numerous, sort of quite a lengthy adventure for this one. Then you've got the aftermath of it, and then dealing with the adversaries and NPs, and then we start off with follow the breadcrumbs. So here we're going to follow the clues that you discovered in Tinfoil Hat, the first one, and here we have visiting a library for information. Hopefully it's safe, there won't be too many zombies, unless you're dealing with a very bad undead librarian who wants some quiet, and of course, because it's a zombie uprising, of course you want some quiet. So as you can see, this is very bright and breezy in terms of, you know, bright, breezy and bloody in terms of its artwork. So yeah, cartoonish in general style. And here you meet Tammy, the building climber. Then move on to the next adventure. Welcome, George, and here you're at a zoo. And all of this is due to take place in sort of like, you know, the city of your choice. You don't have to set it in. This is a generic city which has sort of like various types of buildings, a zoo, so you know, you can easily map it onto the city that's familiar to you and your player characters, and also your players. I mean, then we've got a couple of NPCs. You know, one armed with essentially a katana, very much like Michonne from The Walking Dead. We've got the next scenario, lethal injection, which is going to take place at Dr. Kramer's pet clinic. I mean, because I think of the nature of the scenario, the nature and its setting, it's kind of not as easy to run this in other settings, other cities outside of the US. You could do it. I mean, for example, you've got Dr. Kramer's pet clinic. You know, if you were running that in the UK, it would be a problem, because essentially you don't generally have purpose-built veterinary clinics. They do exist, but in general, what will happen here in the United Kingdom is that they'll take a house and they'll adapt it, because it's a lot easier to adapt than to build from scratch. Cheaper as well. You know. So every scenario has its own events to throw in the path of the player characters. Here you've got the details of Dr. Kramer as an NPC. M5, the Rhino. Well, you know, this is. I'm guessing this is going to be a gentleman's club, and not, you know. Not a private members club, as it were, in the classic sense of you would have in London, you know, but you know, a place where you will have go-go dancers. And here we have a perfect example of the go-go dancers. What's happened to them in Zombicide? They are, yeah, still dancing, and you've got survivors to encounter at the club as well. And then we're going to go head to you know, essentially there's the archetype we introduced earlier. Part 5 is Chili con Carne, so that's going to be some sort of food processing factory. And you've also got alternative beginnings, you know, so it's going to be trying to be flexible as much as it can be as part of the campaign. And this is taking place at Mrs. Rappaport Canned Beans. And that looks like that's one porker that's fed on an awful lot of beans. In there, NPC Jim Bob with his monster truck, quite literally. And instead of a mimic, we've essentially got a worm in a trunk. Part 7, buried alive. Here we've got almost like a dungeon location connected to the underground, the city's mass transit system. And again, that's another thing, not every city has a mass transit system, certainly not an underground one. They're quite rare because they actually take you know, quite a lot of infrastructure to build. And we've got a set of underground encounters, including undead bats, before we get on to the signal. Place at a power station. Mr. Fwibble, in his penguin suit, an ex-Mr. Fwibble. And we've got the apartments on the construction site to investigate. And a zombie in a containment suit. It's definitely failed. So, penultimate adventure takes place at a clubhouse. Better map of the clubhouse. There are survivors at the clubhouse. Before we get to the gates of heaven, or I should say gates of haven. Literally, it's going to be a nuclear fallout shelter. There we go, got a nice map of that. And hopefully the player characters, the survivors, will find out, you know, whether or not it's a space in which they can survive. You've got an exoskeleton. Oh, you've got to. I mean, I'm hoping that there's going to be a big zombie down there for someone to face off against. And of course, everything's going to go wrong. There is a zombie invasion of the facility, including facing that thing. And the day after, so that's basically the end of the consequences of the campaign. Before we get to, we've got an anatomical guide to zombies. That's the sort of like the big handout that's going to develop as the campaign goes on, giving the player characters more information about the zombies. And this is a good thing obviously for the referee to look at as well. Get some reference points, and also showcases the artwork from both the role-playing game and the board game as well. So yeah, only that's a bit stuck in to the pages there at the corner. They're bound in a bit too tight. But there we go. That is Road to Haven, the campaign book for Zombicide Chronicles, which looks quite a fun, entertaining campaign, 10 parts. And I think, it's nice to have sort of like short campaigns like that, Oh, we played Zombicide, played the campaign, and we rather enjoyed it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you did, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a box containing a book or game, or in this case a role-playing campaign, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.